So, hi, everybody. I'm so happy that you're here. And around the table, we have Bob. Can I start with you?
Sure. Bob Geyer, I'm here. Hello, Ulises.
John.
John.
Roberto.
And Andrea.
And Sophia.
Mhm.
And Holly.
Thanks, Holly. And we have Hannah. And
I'm Hannah. Yeah, I'm here. I'm just keeping my audio muted, so I
Okay.
don't want you to put up with background noise.
very and Donna's here. And hopefully Pat will come in and Sherry.
And Sherry.
So we have a table full of people that take all the different kinds of transit transportation ways around the county. So it's going to be a group effort on trying to share all this stuff. And I think I'm going to start out with what I've been doing out lately, and that is a volunteer driver, Santa Cruz volunteer driver. And Pat Haskin actually gave me the phone number, and I just called them, and they asked me some questions and I gave them the answer. And well, I know what reason. I didn't know if there was a financial thing on it or not, but evidently there's not, because they called me back about a week later and said that I was in, and they actually have been the people that have been bringing me to Vista, with the exception of today. They couldn't find a ride.
Is this the
And
volunteer center of
yeah.
Santa Cruz?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they also took me to a doctor's appointment, and that was really cool, because they walk wherever you are. They just like ParaCruz, they walk you in, and then he came back and got me when my appointment was over. So that works really well, and it's free. You can donate to the Santa Cruz Volunteer Center if you want to, but that's optional. But so it is a free ride, but you have to just call their number and have and it's for seniors and disabled, and you just have to call and get your qualifications matched, and then you're signed up. You have to call them a week in advance, and they'll find you a volunteer driver, and the person will come and get you and take you where you want to go, and then bring you back home. So it works really, really well.
Now, is that the same or separate from Senior Network Services?
I think it's separate, because I don't know about Senior Network Services.
Well, that's who Pat used to work for. Pat Winters.
Oh,
I do have something I would add about that, Evie, if I may. So this is Hannah. I also phoned them, and I did not get a volunteer because I am living with someone who drives.
Oh, interesting.
So just so you know.
That's good info.
I think they did change some of the rules, because I know I tried getting them, but they said right now they're only focusing on just seniors.
Could you hear Roberto? Hannah?
Yeah. Oh, Roberto couldn't get a ride because he's not a senior. Was that it?
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So you do have to be a senior.
And not live with someone who drives.
And not live with someone who drives. I mean, my daughter lives with me, but she's at work all the time, so I guess they didn't count that.
No, right.
Maybe we should talk with.
Yes, I guess they asked me a question whether my husband was available, and I couldn't tell a lie, so I said yes.
Right.
And that cut me out.
Yeah, I didn't lie to them at all either, because they asked me, was I able to take other transportation? And I said yes. But they let me in anyways.
Oh, there you are, must be your charm, Bevy.
I don't know about that, but it's worth a call and getting the questionnaire done with them anyways, if anybody's interested, because it's free, and all the volunteers that I've had, and I know have been really nice. I know Pat uses them and Betsy uses them. So Bob, did you have a question?
I was just saying, maybe we should ask Patrice, or I'm not sure who else would know, but there could be other people. So when we used to have Pat Winters Johnson, is that what I was saying? Pat Winters?
Yeah,
She was like our Vista driver, and she came through like the senior network services. And she would drive around and pick us all up and bring us in. And that sounds like that's a different service or a different organization.
I have an answer for that, Bob.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
This is Donna, because I rode with Pat a lot. She actually worked for a different organization, a government-funded organization, and it was specifically set up for seniors, and she actually was paid a stipend by that organization. She was paid not much, but she also got paid for mileage when she took us around. So it didn't cost Vista anything, but Pat worked for, I can't think right at the moment what the organization name was, but it was federally funded, and they paid her a stipend for each person she worked for and mileage.
I've never asked with if I have a feeling we're talking about the same company, but
No, it's not Bevy. No, the one through Senior Network Services, it's not provided by Senior Network Services. It's a volunteer organization, and it's not the same one that Pat worked for.
And that's not this, I'm trying to pose this as a question. Is that the same as the Santa Cruz Volunteer Center? Or again, are we talking about a different organization?
Totally different
That's
organization.
what I thought, okay.
Mhm.
okay, so I don't know about this other one, so we are not getting that one covered today. Unless somebody has, I don't know, how could they find that out, Bob?
Well, I'm trying to figure out who do they contact for the one you're talking about?
You call Santa Cruz Volunteer Center.
But I thought we just determined that it isn't them, that's a completely different organization.
I think it is. I think that Bevy's talking about the Santa Cruz Volunteer Center. And Donna is referencing how she had a driver who was funded by something separate from the.
No, but even still, I still think I'm trying to make sure we're all talking about the right thing. Donna, do you know the one that people are currently using, because Pat's not with us any longer?
Yes, the one that Bevy's talking about is the Volunteer Center, and Pat wasn't involved with them at all. So this is a current thing that we can use.
Okay, so it's the Volunteer Center of Santa Cruz County.
I believe that's the ones that are providing the rides that Bevy's talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know for sure, Bob. I really don't know for sure. I could be calling it wrong.
I don't think so, Bevy. You went through the network center, and the volunteer center that you've been telling me about is the one that we're currently talking about. It is available to us now. Like Hannah said, she went through it too. I don't think the current people at Vista Center are aware of the agency that Pat worked through. I'm trying to think of the name of our sweetheart that was our person back then that worked in the office. Christy would know.
Well, Pat or Patrice would know as well.
Yes, definitely Patrice would know. Yes.
Okay, so again, I'm sorry to be slow on this. So if I wanted to ride with them, do I contact the Senior Network Services, or do I contact the Volunteer Center of Santa Cruz?
Donna?
That I don't know, because I haven't talked with them. I believe the Senior Network Services is the one that gives you the number to contact who Bevy's getting the rides from, the Volunteer Services.
Gotcha.
Oh, I wonder if it was that senior companion program.
That's it.
Yeah.
Senior Companion, and it's a federally funded program. It had nothing to do with Vista. It was Pat getting paid through a separate agency and volunteering through Vista to help us.
So, Sophia, do you have any information for us on?
I I do have a link there that Tiffany introduced me to. So I can reach out to her and see kind of where they're at. I know I spoke to her. I also spoke to the volunteer center at the time, kind of when I started, they were quite impacted. They didn't really have much to offer us or our clients. Perhaps things have changed. Maybe they've gotten more volunteers. But there is sort of a matching program with the senior companion program. So they'll kind of identify the needs and find someone on their end out of their base that fits. So yeah, we could definitely explore that more and see how we can use them for transportation more.
So we could put that, could it be added to the YouTube thing that we're talking about right now?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
that'll be on today's presentation on YouTube, then they'll have the information and the link to be able to go to this other organization.
Maybe that's a good guest speaker for senior.
I think so, yeah.
For Resource Spotlight program.
Yeah,
too.
that sounds fair.
Yeah.
And then I have a question for you, Sophia. So, I know because of being a volunteer, I get the newsletter or the notices from Niraj about
Yes.
all of the different, they're looking for volunteers for different things. And quite often in there, I see where he's looking to match somebody up with a driver. That,
Yeah.
you know, he'll say, hey, this person needs a regular driver to go from point A to point B on Tuesdays or whatever.
Right.
Is that something that we potentially could utilize as well? Or I'm not sure exactly how that works.
Yes, it's anytime clients have needs, that they need assistance with in their homes, especially those that are maybe a little bit more isolated or don't have a good support network. We can advertise those needs as Niraj does in his email blasts that go out once a month or twice a month. We can't always guarantee that we'll get help.
Right.
It just gets sent to our active volunteer list that we have for Vista Center specifically. So yeah, absolutely, we can put things in there, especially with enough detail on the need. We don't use like full names or anything, but we put it out there and see what kind of responses we get.
And we would request that through you?
Through me, I can put you in touch with Niraj.
Oh, directly to
too.
Niraj,
Yeah.
okay.
Maybe you could put his phone number down there on the YouTube thing. If he wants that. I don't know. So one of the other ones that I looked at, two other ones myself, and one of them is Lyft line. And with the Lyft line, if you're over 60 and you have a disability, then it's free. And they pick you up at your house, take you where, but I asked specifically if they would take me to Vista Center, and they said no. But they'll take you to, but that one lady does. There is somebody that comes here on Lyft line. I just
Yeah.
talked to her a couple days ago. And they are gonna be, what they're gonna be in the office, right, Roberto? Yeah.
They
Next week
are,
for
which
Resource
is
Spotlight.
Really, kind of curious to know your experience with that, Debbie, because we have 3 clients that come through Lyft line.
Okay, well then the
Weekly
person
basis.
that I was talking to must not know what she's talking about.
Yeah, that's really weird.
And so also, if you're under 60, you still have a disability, you can pay $5 each way, or if you don't, you have to, okay, also for it to be free, I'm sorry that I'm so jumping around. Also for it to be free, you have to make under 45,000 a year. And so if you make over $45,000 a year, and if you're under 60, you can pay $5 each way if you get accepted into their program.
And they do cross county. The
Okay.
important part there.
Yeah, good, thank you. So that might be something that you might want to check into, like Roberto just said, that we have 3 people here at Vista that use them. And so you might want, and their number, I have that listed that, Sophia will put in the notes for the YouTube station also.
Well, that's funny, I was told, I called them up one time, they said they're only doing medical, they're not for anything else, they don't go here or there.
Well, they kind of maybe have, expanded, because I was gonna say, the other things that she said is they'll take you to the bank. They'll take you to the
Huh.
grocery store, and they'll take you to doctor's appointments. But now it sounds like they also will take you with, to bring you here too. So it's worth maybe applying for it and checking it in.
Sorry,
Well, I
Debbie.
applied for
Wait a
one.
second, we got too many people
Sorry,
talking
can
at
you
the
pause
same
for
time.
just a moment?
Yes.
Do you mind sitting your chair, and we have Yvonne joining us in the room? She's
Hi,
just
Yvonne.
dropped off, and I'm gonna park her right next to myself. and
Oh, on
Becky,
that side, okay.
If her wheelchair will fit.
Hmm.
Yeah. Sorry.
No
Intermission.
worries. Glad she's able to
Get
do
everyone
this.
Yeah.
settled.
Sorry, is there a chair right there?
Um,
I'll just come to the chair or something.
Or we can put you between, Bevy and Bob. Would that work better?
We're easier on the side,
Okay.
I can slide
All right,
over like that.
over this way.
Bye, guys.
Good
All right,
time.
sorry, guys, we have
Around.
a
Quick
person
pause.
joining us, Yvonne has joined us, so. Okay, so the last one that I have is,
Do you need more room, or are you okay?
No, I'm okay, thank you, I'm sorry.
No worries. Glad you're
the
here.
last one that I have that I checked into is we all know about, and, is ParaCruz. And, there, you have to go to. There'll be a write-up that I made, also on YouTube. And it has the phone number to call, you have to go into their office, which I guess is now on Research Drive, is that right, Bob?
No, I believe it's now at their administrative offices on River Street.
Okay, what the information I got was wrong on that too, then I guess.
Well, no, so they used to be at the transit center, but since they tore that down and they're rebuilding it, I'm not sure which office they're running that out of now. So-
Okay, so what the computer told me was that it was on Research, but if you call the number, they'll definitely tell you where it is. And you have to have an ID taken, and you have to qualify, like for us, we're all blind, and so you have to have a doctor's thing saying you're blind. And then their prices fluctuate. For instance, because I live in Scotts Valley, it costs me $6 each way to come to Vista. But if you live in Watsonville, it only costs $4 each way. And what was told by the driver is, one of the drivers, is that if you cross where the metro is, they charge you extra, because if I would have taken the bus in, I would have had to change and get onto a different bus in order for it to bring me here. That's what adds the extra $2. Doesn't make much sense, but. And then
Nope.
you also have to be so many feet, or so many, you have to be close to a bus stop. And that one doesn't make any sense to me either, but anyways, that's what they say. And so, cause we have one of our clients that can't use them because she's just a few feet out of that area between the bus stop and where her house is. And and they told her, well, if you would walk down to the bus stop, and she said, if I could walk down to the bus stop, I wouldn't need to take ParaCruz, now would I? So anyways, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but, and, that's the information that I have on ParaCruz.
Well, they come straight to my house, I mean, and bus stop's probably about maybe a block away.
What I'm saying is because you're close enough to a bus stop, that's why they will come to your house.
Yeah.
And that's why they come to my house, because I'm close enough also. So if you're close enough to a bus stop, then they will come to your house. If you're not close enough to a bus stop, then they won't come to your house.
Bevy, can I add something? This is Donna.
Yeah,
When I checked into it, the limit is you have to be within 1 mile of the closest bus stop. If it's 1 mile and a foot away, then they won't. But if your
That's right.
if your nearest bus stop is within 1 mile of where you want to leave from and also where you want to go, because Bevy, as you know, the church we go to is quite a ways away from a bus stop. We're a fraction under a mile. That's why the paratransit will take us where we want to go there. But it's a 1 mile limit for some reason.
If I may add as well, Andrea, it's me, Andrea. I've been speaking to someone at ParaCruz and they would like to come and help clients sign up for ParaCruz in May. So we'll have them here for a resource spotlight, hopefully. in
Oh,
May.
great.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the plan. And yes, the prices do fluctuate depending if you have to do a transfer. So if from here to Scotts Valley, it takes 2 buses to get here, then that's why the cost is $6 instead of 4. From here, from where Roberto and I live, it's only 1 bus, which is why it's $4. And you can also do, what's it called when you call when you're ready, I think?
Oh, you can do
A will
call-in,
call.
will call, there you go.
There you go. And that's $8.
And
Which is a little bit more pricey.
And if you miss your ParaCruz driver when they
And
don't
you
show.
want them to come back, then they charge you even more.
Yeah, but their current address is 603 Front Street in
Yes.
Santa Cruz. That is the current address to go to.
Yes.
So it is
And-
on front.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you're allowed to take a PCA. After that, any person that comes on with you, they will charge you an extra $4. So the PCA is free. Correct.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, it is true,
You
yeah.
can do PCA, and you can take up to 6 people with you if you really want to. If they're minors, they're free.
They're free, yeah.
It's PC.
I just found the
Yeah.
same information about, this is Hannah, about where the new Metro office is, and it's opposite CVS on Front Street, next to Oswald's restaurant, and it's quite a big office, and they're perfectly nice in there and will do what you need. I didn't have my photo done there, I had it done back in the old area that's now been knocked down. I only renewed. So I don't know if it's different if you have to get the photo done. Just to add one more piece of info.
Yeah, thank you.
To add on one last note on all that.
Yeah.
You can also, if you have ParaCruz and if you want to use it on another county, you are allowed to, but you would have to request a visitor's pass to use it in another county. And you'll get dropped off on one bus station, and then the other county will take their ParaCruz to that bus station and to continue on from there.
They're accessible, right?
Mhm.
Oh, that's a good information. Thank you.
Mhm.
And also, I don't know if maybe you do know this, but if you're blind, you could ride the bus for free, the city bus.
Right, we're gonna go there. Yeah, that's nice. Would you like to take it now, Bob?
In one more second, it seems like the Central Coast Services, the one that we ran in the newsletter last time, can either of you speak to that, Andrea or Roberto?
Yeah, it's called basically called.
Call a car? Oh, okay.
It just seems like that ties in with the same type of service, so.
No, I would say that was really limited to only medical appointments. So, from my understanding, there's other insurances that offer it, but the only one I'm really aware of is Medi-Cal. And Medi-Cal offers through Central Coast Alliance, I can never say it.
Central Coast Alliance
For
for
health.
health.
Or so,
You would call a car, and call a car will do a survey intake of you, and they'll put down exactly what your needs are. If you're requesting door to door, they'll put that in your file and they'll say, okay, this person really needs door to door.
Or curb to curb.
or curb to curb. So there's different kinds of situations they can put you with, but you wanna keep adding on, because I know I was missed out.
So you can call, they prefer you call a week in advance. Once again, this is just for medical purposes. Whatever kind of medical appointment you have, they'll ask you, is this for a dentist or whatever, you know, and you tell them what time do you need to be there by. And from there, really, they connect you with any other company that could give you a ride. If you need door to door, they have private companies like one is called Cruz Pros, Salisar. They work with many different ones, and they contract them, and then those companies will hire drivers to go and pick you up, and they help you get into your car. If you just need a curb to curb, they will get you an Uber or a Lyft that day. They're pretty good.
I don't know, I had some trouble with them.
Do they, that they pay for?
Uh-huh,
Uh-huh.
it comes from, the insurance pays call a car, basically.
You can also use Lyft, the app, to track your driver. So they'll send you text messages
With the link.
with a link, and if you're pretty good with your phone, you'll be able to track your driver live on Lyft.
I do Medi-Cal transportation, and they'll take you to go pick up your prescriptions. You can do a will call, return, or you can let them know
Yes.
when it comes, but they'll take you, like, they bring me here.
Mhm,
And I come with door-to-door services or wheelchair services,
mhm.
and they're good about taking you where you need to go.
Yes.
Well, they're good about that, but see, I had trouble with them here.
I think you have curb to curb.
Yeah.
I
You gotta
even told them,
really-
I told them I needed, dropped off, near the building, near the center. And they dropped, this one guy came and dropped me off down this damn street.
Okay,
I
let's
walk
watch
out,
our
I go-
language.
I walked out there one day when I left here and I go, where are you? And then, this other woman picked me up one time here. And she couldn't hardly speak English, but anyway, we won't get into that one. But she's on the wrong street, first of all. And then I had the app and everything, so, Monica was helping me out here at the center.
Yeah.
And when she did show up, she said, now you gotta pay because I've been here 5 minutes. And I'm thinking, why should I pay? This is my fault,
Mhm.
So I had
Sounds
some
like maybe
problems
your
with it.
settings need to be, or your preferences or your settings need
Yeah.
to be readjusted with them, maybe door to door.
I had trouble with one company, but I had told them that those people were not working out for me, cause I got left twice.
Yeah,
So now I use TLC and they're really good.
yeah.
Is
As
that
long as-
non-emergency medical?
Can everybody hear us? I'm sorry. Can everybody hear us on the, that are on Zoom?
It's kind of fading in and out sometimes, but so far I've been able to understand what people are saying, but the volume is going up and down quite a bit.
Okay, can everybody kind of speak up a little bit louder when you're
Yeah.
talking?
Yeah. With Call a Car, you gotta really advocate for yourself. And during the intake, that's something you can discuss with them. They ask you a lot of questions and it really comes down to advocating for yourself. I know in the intake, they also ask you if you have someone to drive you, because they can do mile reimbursement. It's not as much, but that's also an option that they do. Us personally, we rarely have anyone to drive us around, so we just say, no, we don't have anyone to drive us around.
Well, when I signed up with them, I did the same thing. You asked the questions. I told them this and that. And the thing you have to know though is when you go to the center here, I always tell them it's medical. Because it is in one way, because they do have a doctor here, I think, comes on once in a while. So you always gotta make sure you tell them, tell them you're gonna get your eyes checked or something like that.
You can tell them it's rehabilitation services.
I don't know if they would go for that.
They do.
They do?
Yeah, counseling, rehabilitation services, anything like that.
Right. And if you have problems, just call Medi-Cal and.
I did.
And file a complaint and let them know who's picking you up and they'll send somebody else to pick you up because I do the same service and I have no problems. I did before and I just filed a complaint.
I called Medi-Cal too, and I haven't heard back from them.
Okay, well, let's
Yeah.
stop, let's go for the positive and what we
Yeah.
know of sharing,
I think someone had a question on Zoom. Does anyone have a question?
Nope.
Let's give it a second, just in case anyone's unmuting. Holly, Donna, or Hannah, did you have any questions or input that you'd like to add?
Hi, this is Donna. I hadn't put a question in, but I do have a question going way back to ParaCruz. I had heard before that we could do inter-county travel. And I don't know if anyone knows the answer to this currently, but it was something I was going to research because I want to go to the Monterey Bay Aquarium in Monterey. And somebody told me a long time ago, I don't remember who it was, that you can plan ahead and you could arrange it so that I could take the ParaCruz to wherever the Monterey County one starts and transfer with them and go to the aquarium. Does anyone know? Has anyone done anything like that?
okay,
Yes.
Roberto, would you speak up a little louder if you want to answer this one?
come
One
closer?
of you.
Yes, so, Donna, what you do is you would want to first request, if you're doing this through ParaCruz, you want to request Monterey Salinas Transit rides for a
Okay,
visitor's pass. And when you get a visitor's pass, you let them know that you are currently a client of ParaCruz. And then they'll get your file from ParaCruz. And once that is complete,
You wanna tell the ParaCruz too, though.
you can do either or.
Mhm.
So I do both just to kind of get this situated better. Once all that is complete, then you will have the opportunity to ride MST rides 21 times. And throughout a period of 365 days. And yes, from there you can book your ride to get to Watsonville Transit Center. And then MST will pick you up at Watsonville Transit Center and take you to
Monterey Bay.
Monterey. So me and Andrea do
Mhm.
this quite often.
Cool.
And so how much more does it cost?
It's actually less.
And MST is, how much is it, Ulysses?
It's $2 for one for each way,
Yeah,
but if you're a student of Harnell, it's free.
okay, good to know.
Just for the students out there.
So the $6 ParaCruz will charge you, plus the $2 MST will charge you.
wow. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Roberto. That's very exciting to learn that. Thank you so much.
Okay, so who wants to go next?
Bob?
Well, I'll talk about just local public transportation. So there's an app that you can download from the Play Store or the Apple Store, and it's called Transit. That's what will show up as the icon on your phone, Transit. But when you're in the App Store looking for it, it'll say Transit, and then I'm not sure if it's comma, but then it'll go on and it'll say subway and bus schedules. And then right after that, it says New York City Metro. Don't get hung up that they're saying New York City Metro. It's just the way that kind of got abbreviated in their description, because if it could go on, it would list Los Angeles Metro and Chicago, it would just list all the metros or bus services that are around. So it's transit and then subway and bus schedules is what you'll see in the App Store. So once you download that and you have that on your phone, it's really amazing. This app will work anywhere in the United States, and it'll actually work in some other countries as well. I don't know those other countries that it does work in, but it works throughout the United States with the larger metro systems that have joined with them. And so once I had it on my phone, it says, where do you want to go? and I said I wanted to go to the Vista Center, and I actually said, I gave it the address, the 3315 Mission Drive, and then it came back and it actually listed and said, oh, do you want Vista Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired? And I said, yes. And it knew where I was because it's connected with GPS on your phone. And then it said the closest bus stop to you is at Granite Creek and Scotts Valley Drive. That's a 7-minute walk from your current location. And the bus will leave from that location in 5 minutes. And it will, they explained where it would take, I needed to transfer buses. So it told me where it would take me and how long it would take to get to there. And then it told me what bus number I needed to get on there. And it even told me what time that bus would depart from that location. And then then at the end, it ultimately gave me the total time that it would take to get to here at the Vista Center. And then it gave you the option, like, okay, if you weren't going to be able to catch that series of buses and you went with the next series of buses, it told you what time those all departed. So you could plan ahead. And lost my train of thought there for a second. And so it will work anywhere. Like if you're over in the Bay Area, it'll have BART on there. Like if there was other public transportation services here in Santa Cruz County, like if we had BART or something like that, it would list all of those and show me all of those, you know, where those stops were, the stations were, where the bus stops, and how far they were from my house and how long it would take to get anywhere. And so you can either just spell out and say you want to go to Dominican Hospital, or you want to go to the mall, you know, Capitola Mall, or you want to go to here at the Vista Center. And it's pretty good at identifying from those locations what you're talking about. Otherwise, you can actually give it the physical street address and it will get you there via that. The one thing that they do warn you about on the, if you read through all of the stuff on the Apple Store, is that when you're setting it up, it's going to want to access your location services, and they recommend that you choose let them track your location only while using the app, not tracking you all the time. And I think that's good advice for any application that you get that gives you the option to say, track me only when I'm using the app. Because if you don't, and you just let it track you, it's using your GPS all the time, and it's using up your battery. And they do caution you that it'll drain your battery if you don't just say only track me when I'm using the service. It was very accessible with VoiceOver. I had no problem going down through the transit app and putting in where I wanted to go, and it told me each step of the way. It told me where it was going to drop me off here, or closest to the Vista Center, which was going to be down by Dominican Hospital because they took the closest bus stop away a little while ago. And so then it told me how many minutes it would take me to walk from there to the Vista Center. So I thought that was all really helpful. And again, this will work at any major transit agency throughout the United States.
And the cost is? And
the cost is free. There's no cost for it at all. They do say that there's what do they say, in-app advertising or something like that. But it didn't bother me. I was able to just access all the fields that I needed directly, and I didn't get ads bombarding me. There was one Google ad right at the very beginning, but that wasn't hard to get through that and move on. So,
For sure.
and I know, I believe Roberto and Andrea use that app frequently, don't you? Or at least
Roberto doesn't.
I use other apps. But I did try using that transit app maybe last
It
year.
was not the
It
greatest,
wasn't
now it's
working the
better.
way you're saying, so if it's working better,
Mhm.
at least for a screen reader user, it wasn't working as good as it was, but if it's working better, that is good to know. This way I can
It
start
is.
sending people that way.
Yeah, I don't know what it was like before, so.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. If they've improved that interface with the screen reader, that's good.
They have. It's pretty good. I mean, Bob, you did really good about
Little louder.
covering. You did really good about covering everything. Not
I
much
think,
to do.
yeah, I think for me, like when I use Google Assistant for the most part, or Gemini, I know that's kind of weird to use, but I have used Gemini to get me around. Just for just
With public transportation?
yes. It's not keeping live with you, so don't recommend it yet.
Oh. Go ahead.
I use Google Assistant. That one's been pretty good with voice commands, but I do really want to try this app you're talking about. So
The other thing that you just reminded me of is in the app, when it was telling me that it was going to leave the bus stop closest to my house in 5 minutes, it also said that the current bus is 4 stops away. So it does let you know exactly where the bus is coming towards you. For whatever that is, it's just good extra information to be able to have that. And like I said, it's free. And here in Santa Cruz County, if you're blind, you're able to get on the bus for free. They don't really ask any questions. If you have your cane or if you have a guide dog, there's no questions. But if you don't use those, then they're going to want to see your disability ID. Sometimes it depends on the driver, but the rules are they're supposed to see your disability ID again, which you can sign up for at that same Santa Cruz Metro office on Front Street. They will set you up with your disability card. It's a red card, and then that again lets you ride all of the buses in Santa Cruz County for free. Now
That's right, Bob. And Hannah, just adding one thing, just to say, it's called the access card, and it is red, and it's just as Bob says, but they call it the access card.
And if you have family that's going to ride the bus and you know you're not going with them or whatever, the Santa Cruz Metro also has another app that you can pay for all your bus fare and that sort of thing ahead of time. You can download all that information onto your phone, and then you can use your phone when you get on the bus to swipe to take the fare off. So they do have 2 different ones. One is the transit that works everywhere. And then if you are a paying customer, they have a separate app where you can pay all your fees through. So.
The first step that you were talking about, would it still show you the prices though? Because like you
Yes,
said
it
locally,
does.
like would it still show you the prices if I was like in Washington per se?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it did. Thank you for reminding me of that. I appreciate that. It did tell me how much it was going to cost, and it was going to, like I said, it was going to take me 2 buses to get here. And so it told me the fare for the first bus, and then it told me what the fare was going to be for the second bus, because the app doesn't know that we're disabled, that the app is available for anybody. And so it does tell you what the fares are going to be if
So it doesn't tell you the fare if you were disabled other than being blind?
no,
Okay, good to know.
they only listed one fare, you
The
know,
regular
the regular
price?
fare. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I don't know if I don't think in their settings there's a place to let it know.
There's not.
Okay.
Every place is different.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
county,
yeah, because like VTA is $1 per ride, but regular fare is $4 a ride.
I know in the app, sometimes, not always, it'll tell you if that specific bus route you're looking at is sometimes busy around that time or not busy. So sometimes I think there's like a little button that voiceover won't read it. It says what it's like on board, and you can click on it.
It sounds so similar to Google.
Google,
It's
yeah,
so
it's
very
similar.
similar.
Google.
Like the way you described it, Bob, is exactly the way I use it with Google. It's
Oh,
not
interesting.
so almost the same. Like it tells me the bus is 2 minutes behind. The bus is 2 minutes ahead of schedule, so make it with it already. Yeah, really similar.
And
And
it-
so do you just ask Google or?
I just asked Google, yes.
Where you wanna go and what time to catch the bus and all that?
I just
stuff?
say, transit directions to, Vista Center, and it'll just say, your bus is on time, or something like that.
Oh,
You of
Good to
course
know.
have to have the Google app
Mhm.
though.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're gonna have all that, but yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the problem I have is, especially downtown on Front Street where the buses are now,
Mhm.
finding the right number to get on.
you
But
have
I-
to ask somebody.
Yeah, you always ask somebody, number two, I take a number two. Used to be back in the old days, it was like, okay, I'll take a Live bus, or I'll take a 93 or whatever. But now that's the other thing too, is that sometimes I'm talking signs don't always work. That's the other problem I'm having.
So is there any other comments or questions about using the bus system?
And one thing, back to that access pass that Hannah was mentioning and Roberto and Andrea touched on as well. It's my understanding that the other Bay Area transit authorities will sort of recognize that card. If you have that card, they'll honor that and you don't have to have a separate disability card for those other agencies.
Wow.
They will honor it, but only to give you the discount, not for free,
Oh, okay, yeah.
correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Even in for hours like center, they have a green dot on there to indicate that you can take people with you.
One person for free.
Yeah. So that's just something to note, that not other centers will recognize that dot that they put
Oh,
on
interesting.
the access card.
And is that something you have to ask for separately, the dot?
No,
No.
No, usually, the access, well, when they do the access card, they usually give it to you right there.
yeah, so you
Okay.
can take one person for
As your
free
PCA.
as your personal care assistant,
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
It seems
And you
like
can do that on the metro too?
yes.
Yes, you can.
Oh.
it seems like that card only would work here though, cause like over there, cause I use MST,
Mhm.
it's they charge me $1 even though blind, and if I have a companion, they have to pay the full price. So
Oh.
like, yes,
Yeah,
it's different everywhere.
yeah, so they'll all honor it in the sense that they'll give you the discount.
That it identifies you as being disabled.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
It's Holly.
Hey, Holly.
Hi. A comment on Metro on the bus. I updated mine last year, went through that process, and I do have a green dot. And how I ended up with that green dot signifying I can take a companion is when I had the paperwork for my eye doc to fill out. He filled out the word sometimes. Instead of a yes, no, am I able to travel independently, or no, am I not able to? He noted in there sometimes. And when I asked him about that, he said, well, if you went to blah, 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 and you'd never been there and you had no idea where you were, would it be good to have a companion? And I said, oh, well, yeah, probably. in my learning my blind skills, And so that is how I got the green dot. And I think it's a nice thing to have. But And then also I have a question. It used to be, and I'm wondering if it still is, that the Highway 17 Express bus is still free over.
Yes, it is.
Is
It's
it?
still free.
Yes, it is,
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I know I picked it up from Scotts Valley in the past and gone over to San Jose area. And that was just so neat to be able to do that. So yay for that. So thank you.
It is yay for that.
A real quick aside, the reason the blind or the disabled can ride for free here in Santa Cruz County is when they updated their fare machines a number of years ago, they messed up and they didn't make their fare machines accessible to us. And I applaud Metro that they had somebody on the ball that said, if we have to go back and replace these machines so that they're accessible, it's going to cost us tens of thousands of dollars to fix this problem versus how many disabled people ride and what are we losing in fare for that? And they figured out, just let them ride for free. It saves Metro a lot of money. So I applaud them for doing that.
That's
Yeah.
a great story.
It is.
That's neat. And so if we go over to San Jose on the 17 Express, we can still get back for free.
Yes.
Okay, good. That's great.
If you do struggle with the driver that's not informed, you're always welcome to tell them to radio the operator. That's our understanding. as well. But for
Mhm.
the most part, they're really good about
Now
it.
they are.
And when that was all happening, Bob, we were going to the city council meetings a lot. So we remember when that happened, huh?
Yes, I was constantly being harassed about
Yeah.
getting on the bus constantly.
Yes.
They can't
Wow.
mean anything unless
Yeah,
it's
in the
ID.
beginning.
I was like, oh my, either way, all
But
that
it was
is,
a good
all that is
story,
fixed.
yes.
Yeah.
I like that
Mhm.
Andrea is coming to this with an advocacy perspective. You have a lot of great tips on ways
Yes.
that
Yes,
clients can
yes.
advocate
Yeah.
for themselves when they're not getting the help they need. That's awesome.
Right.
Very much so. And I'm really noting this is a treasure chest of wisdom and knowledge. And I'm so grateful. Thank you all for your input. And wouldn't it be wonderful if, and I know things change, but wouldn't it be wonderful if Vista had a kind of a summary of these different transportation options that could be available?
It'll be on
Um,
YouTube.
Yeah, so Holly, I can actually speak on that a little bit.
Okay.
Typically, we record the audio of these tips and tricks sessions, and Kata helps me. She removes any video or anything that might have been captured and helps me edit these so that we can post them to our Vista Center YouTube. And
Mhm.
usually below, there's a description of kind of what was covered, like an overview. And we always try to include any links, websites, et cetera, that were talked about in the discussion, so that it's all captured there in that one space. Is that helpful, do you think, or are you
That,
asking
that
something specifically for transportation?
Well, that is wonderful, and thank you for doing that. It's and what I was wondering, and is, for example, for the group of us who normally attend tips and tricks, is it easy to send an email with that information, or just to have it available that's not inside the YouTube? I guess I'm thinking that some people don't go to the YouTube, don't know how to do that. And if we
We've
had
got
a
same
resource
information in the
page,
email. That's
mhm,
not a problem.
yeah, I'm just thinking about other clients who might be coming on board in the future too, and existing clients, because this is pretty phenomenal. There's several things I wasn't aware of that I need to explore. So thank you again for all of
That's
this.
helpful feedback. Thank you, Holly.
We-
That's an easy thing for us to do.
We used to have a resource guide that was on the
Thank you.
website that you could access, but we don't have that anymore.
I'll look into that.
When they redid the
Mhm.
website, we lost that.
How about
No.
putting it up here in the bulletin board somewhere so people can read in braille or they can read it with their phone and, kind of thing.
Yeah, but they have to come into the office. It'd be
Oh, yeah,
easier if
right.
they sent
Yeah.
an email.
Mhm. Yeah, and I'm thinking it used to be that when Anna would meet with new clients, she would send people home with lots of information.
Yes.
And is that still what happens? And
Yes, so Anna does still meet with new clients,
Mhm.
when they're joining Vista Center to do what's called an initial psychosocial assessment. So to kind of assess their needs and provide information about relevant resources, either that we offer at Vista or that are available to them in the community. So yeah, that still happens.
Oh, good. And I'm just thinking, is there information about transportation in there like we're talking about? Do you know?
I imagine there is
Okay.
probably, specifically about Lyft line and ParaCruz.
Mhm.
But I think the discussion we're having today is even a little bit more comprehensive than that. So I'd be happy to throw something together and share it out with the group.
Wow, that is wonderful. Don't want to make more work for you. You
No,
have so
that's an
much
easy
going.
fix. So thank you for the feedback.
Oh, you're welcome.
I don't know
Thanks,
if it got
Sophia.
said or not before, but the new program that Vista has, Spotlight, they are gonna have Lift Line on this.
Yes, thank you,
Yeah.
Becky. Resource Spotlight will be here in the first Wednesday of April.
April 2nd.
Yes, at 1 p.m. So they'll be here and they'll be helping out, fill out applications and get all that settled. And they said they will bring some brochures as well. And yeah. And then on May, the first Wednesday of May, we have ParaCruz coming. They really wanted to come, so.
Awesome.
Yes.
I'll just let you know, if a lot of people maybe don't notice, but ParaCruz runs till like 10 o'clock at night,
Mhm.
which is a good thing because like I went to was a voice from Vista last year. And it was great because it was 10 o'clock at night when I let out. So they run, I guess they run the same time the transit center runs, basically.
Yep, it runs to 1 AM.
To 1 AM now,
Wow.
yes.
So, Bob, would you like to share about Lyft line? I mean, not Lyft line, but.
Just Lyft. Sure. So of the two, what are they called? Ride sharing apps, I guess, whether you're using Uber or you're using Lyft. I personally use Lyft. And the way I like to use Lyft is I also have an IRA account. And so my Lyft account, so you have to go in and set up your account at Lyft. When you download their app, you've got to set up, a payment plan, whether you're putting it on a credit card or PayPal or however you're paying for it. And then you could either do it in the Lyft app itself, or you could do it through IRA. They can link your accounts together. That way, when I need a ride, I just pick up the phone and get an IRA agent and tell them I want to go to the Vista Center for the Blind, and they then do everything at that point. And they'll tell me, okay, your ride is going to pick you up in 7 minutes. They tell you the type of car, the color of the car, the driver, and that sort of thing. And they will stay on the line with you until you get picked up. And you keep in mind that's counting towards your minutes. So you're either using up your 5 minutes free for every call you make, or it's starting to eat into your paid minutes. So decide whether you want the agent to stay on with you or not. In some cases, I think it's a good safety feature to have the agent stay on until you get into the car. One thing I did want to note on the app itself, there are different options that you can go through. So if you only wanted to have a female driver, you could go in there and make that setting. And that way, then automatically, when you're asking for a ride, it would find you a female driver, or any other particular concerns that you would have. You can spell those out, and they'll find you a driver that matches up with your desires. So I thought that was a really good feature. And it works very similar to the transit app, where the first thing it'll ask you, where is your destination? And you can either just type in the address of where you want to go, or you can put in the name of the place. Again, at first I did the numerical address for Vista, and it came back and had actually the very first time it came back with the dentist office next door to us. It did not come up with Vista. When I typed in the 3315B, it only came back with the dentist office. But knowing that they're side by side, I was able to pick that one. The second time I did it, I actually entered that I wanted Vista Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired, and then it automatically came up with that as a destination. And one thing I'll note there is, unfortunately, they still have the Laurel Street Vista Center office address on there as well. So you need to make sure you pick the correct one. We're going to see if there's some way we can work with the appropriate people to get the other one removed, but just be aware that it has both of them listed on there. And one thing that you can do with Lyft, Bevy and I were originally going to come here on Lyft, but then our transportation plans changed. And so what you can do is when it asks in the beginning, where you want to go, what's your destination, then after you enter that field, the very next field, it says, do you want to add an additional location? And so I was able to put in there Bevy's address, And then so it was set up that they were gonna come pick me up, and then we were gonna go over and pick Bevy up, and then we were coming here to the Vista Center. So I liked that you were able to add additional people. You're able to actually send your travel information. You can share that with another person if you want. If you were gonna have another rider, you can share that information with it. Like I could have shared that whole thing with Bevy, and it would have been on her phone, and she would be able to see everything about the particular Lyft ride that we were going to use. Now Lyft is quite a bit more expensive than the other ride programs that we were talking about. Lyft frequently has discounts. I get emails from them all the time with 50% savings on your next ride, 25% savings on your next ride. So the fare from Scotts Valley to the Vista Center, it's like 7 miles, and the regular price was $24. But with the discount that I had, it was going to be $15, and that was $15 for both Bevy and myself. Not each, but total of $15 for that ride. And so again, their app is really pretty accessible. I didn't have any issues. It was very, very similar to the Transit app as far as the way it was laid out, and it was easy to go through and navigate. So any questions about Lyft?
I think something to mention there, they have a wait and save option if you want to get
Yes.
an extra discount. I was gonna mention something. Oh, if you're using Call a Car, I know this is kind of interesting. Call a Car, for whatever reason, gives you reward points with Lyft.
With Lyft.
Huh.
So if you're
Yeah.
using Call a Car and you have it linked to your Lyft account, you're getting an extra few dollars there.
Oh, that's nice.
So your next ride will be discounted because you use Call a Car with them.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's just something to throw in there. That's what I was gonna mention.
That's interesting, Roberto. Thank you for sharing that. I did want to, because I heard one of our other clients mentioning this service last week. It is a service I've looked into as well while we're on the topic of Lyft. GoGo Grandparent
Oh,
is sort of like a concierge service that you can pay a monthly membership for, and they will connect you with the things you need in terms of rides, groceries. It goes beyond transportation. But basically you order by calling GoGo Grandparent, and they take the information and coordinate the activities for you. Via like an operator. So they do on-demand rides that arrive in 15 minutes or less. There's I haven't used this myself, so I can't really speak to how well it works or doesn't work, but I remember Michael saying last week that he found it quite useful. And so for clients who maybe don't use a smartphone, this could be a good option too, because you can call and still utilize those services without doing it directly through an app.
Which
that's
is
good.
interesting that you mentioned that, because it's GoGo Grandparent is actually a phone number on all Jitterbug phones.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Huh.
Can everybody still hear on Zoom okay?
Yes, yes. And actually, I have a question, Roberto. What did you say? Call a car and to get a discount on Lyft? I didn't catch that, please.
The Call a Car, the Central Coast Alliance, the topic we were covering earlier.
Oh, okay.
If
Alright.
you're a Medi-Cal recipient.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then I do have another question. I've done a little bit of Uber when I was training with Tiffany last year. How does a Lyft compare, would you say, Bob, to the Uber experience? Just overview and price.
I can't make that comparison because I've not used Uber.
But-
I've only used Lyft.
We're gonna talk about Uber next. Andrea is gonna share about Uber.
Great.
But while we're still in Lyft, after you put in your destination and before you actually hit the button is called schedule, which means, go ahead and go through and set up the ride. It'll go through a series of options as far as the type of vehicle that you want. I think there's 3 different or maybe 4 different options of vehicles. And it costs you more if you move off of the standard. Standard is the beginning one when you first get on there. But if you wanted a bigger car or an even bigger car, you can decide what size vehicle you want. And one of their choices is pets. So some drivers, will not allow animals in their vehicles, but those people who do want that business, they specifically say that, and so you can schedule a driver who will accept pets.
Do you know what about the guide dogs?
Well, that's an ongoing battle that
Yes.
National Federation of the Blind,
They're supposed to allow them because it's against the ADA.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
just allow-
I was listening to news, world news, and there's this woman that works in San Jose as an instructor. She's totally blind. And she had documentation, and the driver wouldn't let her on because she had a guide dog.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a
Yeah.
big thing about it.
There was a big demonstration in San Francisco not too long ago from the NFB
Mhm.
about Uber and stuff.
Yeah, they were protesting in October.
Yeah,
I-
that's unfortunate. Like Bob said, it's an ongoing.
Yeah. And there was no change since October. There was just an update on a podcast I recently
No,
listened
this,
to.
this this has been going on since 2016.
Yeah.
They were supposed to
Yeah.
settle already, but because I did a whole speech on it for school like last
Oh,
month.
good.
Yeah, no, it's been an ongoing thing. They provided, like you said, the pet friendly service. That's technically, think about it, just a blind tag. We pay more
Yes.
for,
Which you shouldn't have to be
Yeah,
doing
like,
if you have
again,
a service dog.
it's against the law, but people are just not following the law. And Uber and Lyft are supposed to be terminating their drivers, but they're not.
Well, and the interesting thing too is in their terms of service for Lyft, I had to update my terms of service. You have to agree that you
You will take people at.
well, that you won't sue them. You're giving up your rights to sue them. You have to go to binding arbitration with them. And you're giving up your rights to ever join a class action lawsuit against them. So they're really trying to squeeze people into a narrow box here.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That is
Yeah.
good.
I
Bob?
just.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And not so long ago, there was a thing also up in Bay Area where they would leave you because you weren't fast enough when you got in the car if you had a disability.
I got left one time in San Francisco. On
Yeah,
339.
that's supposed to be against the law too. That was a big
Oh,
thing.
Why don't, this is slightly outside of our service area, but is working its way down this way. Roberta, do you wanna just spend like 5 minutes talking about Waymo?
How are they coming?
I could do 5 minutes. Yeah, they are slowly working their way down. They're hitting Palo Alto area right now.
Oh.
So they are slowly making their way around other cities and counties. But either way, quick thing. I would say Waymo is very friendly, more than I've ever expected it to be. Almost like Lyft, almost like Uber, but with the difference that it's autonomous. And
Oh.
you can call out your car with sounds. I don't want to take too much time into this because we don't have it here. But when it does come here, I think we should all do a trip there.
So it's an app? as
It
well?
is an app like Uber and Lyft, exactly like an app. Really similar interface like Lyft. It's so simple. There's not that many buttons. I almost feel like they set it up where you can't hit the wrong button because it's just so simple. And you could indicate what type of disability you have. That's the other cool part is you can say, well, I need wheelchair access or I need assistance. So you can indicate what type of disability you have and you get different types of settings for that. So if you're visually impaired, then you'll have that button that, you can honk the horn so that you can find your vehicle. Pretty cool, useful.
Oh, wow.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so Roberto and Chris, one of our other AT instructors in San Jose, we went up to the city a couple months ago to film a segment for Site Tech Global about their experience using Waymo. So we met up with the Waymo staff, a staff member, I think her name was Rachel, and kind of got an overview of how to use it. We got to do a couple test rides. So like I said, it's not here yet, but it's slowly working its way down the peninsula. So it is something that you could be using if you're over in Palo Alto or San Francisco for any reason. And perhaps eventually it will be available down here too. So we can explore that a little bit further in the future. But just wanted to mention that that's something on our radar that could be quite a friendly option. Not the cheapest, you know, it would be comparable probably to Uber or Lyft. But in terms of usability and accessibility, you know, having your guide dog in the car, you're not being discriminated against in that way without a driver. And as a woman, it seems like a safer option too. I personally I love the idea of getting in a car without a driver.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, sorry, it's just something I wanted to throw in there.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Wow.
Right. So, Andrea, would you like to share about Uber?
Yeah, so Uber is another shared app as well, just like Lyft. It's fairly easy once you get it all set up. In the beginning, yes, you have to give it permission for to get your location, and again, you could set it, it's better you set it, like Bob said, just to track your location while using the app only. You have to give it permission to make phone calls and text messages, which is very helpful once you're requesting a ride. So once you get it all set up, the payment method and everything, the interface is fairly similar. There is a little bit more going on just because they offer other services, not just the rideshare. But once you get all that going, you can start at the very top. It says, do you want a ride or do you want Uber Eats? Right under that, and it'll be set up to take a ride. It'll ask you, where do you want to go to? Underneath that, if you have it set up to know where you work or where your home is, it'll usually give you those options as well. And it costs about the same as Lyft, a little bit less, I want to say sometimes.
Can I just interject right
Go
there?
for it.
So I have a friend, Brian, who uses both services, and he'll actually check the price
Yes.
for Lyft, and then he'll check the price for Uber. And often they'll flip.
Mhm.
One time Lyft is cheaper, the very next time going to the exact same place, Uber will be
Exactly.
cheaper. So keep that
Yes.
in mind to search both places.
Keep both
Exactly.
apps on your phone.
Yes,
Yeah.
both apps are really helpful. They have their benefits for sure. What are the benefits of Uber? That it's cashless because you could put your payment information on there. It's very convenient once you got it all set up, and it's the transportation just comes to you, you know. There's some safety features, like you can share your ride with someone. You can also request for a female driver now. Now they got that.
Cool, I'll sign up for that.
Yes. Anyways, so you can make that request. They have Uber Teen now, which is you can set up a family account, which is what we have. So Roberto has his profile, I have my own profile, and our son has his own profile now. Now that they have the Uber Teen, it goes through the same payment if you wanted to, or you can have separate payments. You can put your profile picture so that the driver can look for you. And also you can have a note preset that says, hi, you can say, hi, I'm blind, can you look for me? And this way it kind of gives your driver a heads up every single time that you request a ride. They have a button that once you request your ride, you can hit the button and it's called Spotlight. And it's a very, very bright light that displays on your screen. And you can hold your phone up for the driver to look for it.
Oh,
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, and so the driver it notifies the driver to look for that.
Yes,
Spotlight.
once you click on that button,
wow.
it will notify the driver the color of your light.
Oh, that's
Because it
cool.
does change colors depending on the ride.
Hmm.
The price is about the same. It goes up on price the fancier you want the car as well. You can pre-schedule a ride also, which I think you can do that with Lyft.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. You can pre-schedule.
Okay, yeah, I think so. you can pre-schedule, or you could do a wait and save as well. You could do a pet friendly, which if you have a service dog, you shouldn't have to do that. Yeah, I mean, that's practically it.
Wow.
You can do Uber Eats directly from the Uber app. You don't have to have the Uber Eats app. They do offer other services like groceries, food delivery. You can rent a car or a bike. Yeah. Oh, and they deliver packages.
Hmm.
So if I wanted to deliver a package to Bob, I could. But yeah, or to Vista. Mhm.
Yeah, they sound very similar.
Yeah, they're very
Yeah.
similar, very similar. You really have to look at both and see which one's convenient. If you have Uber One, an Uber One account, which is you pay $10 a month to have it, it'll give you a discount on a lot of rides. So sometimes if we didn't have Uber One, we would pay $8 or $10 to get from Vista to here, but since we have it, it may be $6.
Yeah, we actually noticed a difference.
Yes.
It's been taking off about $2 approximately per
Mhm.
ride.
Yeah,
And I know a lot of you guys don't know, but I've been injured. And so I've been using Uber One almost every day,
mhm.
to and from somewhere. And from the time I wasn't having Uber One, I did notice that price drop. So, big price drop.
It's worth the $10, cause
Yeah.
really you end up like saving, if you use it often, you end up saving.
Yeah.
What's the usual fare from Watsonville to the Vista?
Oh, no,
Center?
so I don't use it that far.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we did the usual price, I did check. It's $18 from here to Watsonville to our home.
Okay.
But since we have Uber One, it was charging me $13.50.
I'm about to take it on then. You shouldn't say that.
No, you're fine. You're fine on ParaCruz.
But
They're helpful.
I know, I think Lyft it's called Lyft Plus, and just like Uber One, you get to use on Uber Eats. Lyft Plus, you get to use that with what's called Grubhub. So that's how they compete with that one.
Any questions? No comments?
Thank you for all that information.
Yeah. What's our time?
It is 12:30 on the
Oh, we
dot.
have about half an hour.
Well,
I
and with what
Thank
Andrea and Roberto was just mentioning about the
Yeah.
Uber Eats and the Grubhub, that ties into
Next,
next month, so.
yeah, so next, and hopefully Roberto and Andrea will be willing to help us again. Because the next month is gonna be about food delivery. And I know, Holly can help us with that too, and I personally, my daughter has used.
12:31 p.m.
Ordered from, with, what's the name of it?
DoorDash,
No,
Uber Eats,
I don't know,
Grubhub,
no, the other one.
Postmates.
Instacart?
Instacart. And so my daughter, talking to me is like playing a game, you gotta figure out, anyways, we've used Instacart, she's used Instacart before to bring groceries from Costco. But, yeah, so.
Can I ask a clarifying question? When you say food delivery, you're talking about how to use apps to have like groceries and like restaurant food delivered to your home?
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah, it was
Well, there's
a
lots of options for that.
request,
Mhm.
so. And I know Holly uses Instacart to bring food from Costco also. Is there anything else you use it for, Holly?
Hello, primarily Costco. I've done a few other things, but that's my
So
my big one.
hopefully what'll happen next, for using that next month, is we'll actually be able to. Somebody will be able to share how you actually do that, how you get the app and how you actually order the food from Costco, for instance, and get it delivered to your house.
Or maybe we could order a pizza to be delivered here.
Oh, that's a
that'd
good
be
idea.
Yeah, we can try it out.
Costco pizza.
That'd be cool.
You know,
Oh,
Costco pizza, that would be great. They're very
And
inexpensive.
actually, I think when talking about
Too much
Costco, when
cheese
you're
on
using
top.
Instacart, I don't think you have to have a Costco membership in order to,
actually,
I don't think so. Because just in our business center experience, we've used Instacart to order the food for the Wednesday client meetings that we have over in San Jose. And you can tie your Costco membership in so that you get the benefits, but I think you can still order using Instacart without having to have a Costco membership.
Mhm.
Wow.
I think, I could be wrong, but that was my experience.
I think also like Target and Walmart, they have like a built-in, not like Instacart, but they have their own like built-in grocery delivery services, yeah.
Yeah,
like
and I
the same
also,
day.
I think, Nob Hill and Safeway do too.
Oh, Safeway, yeah,
There's
Safeway.
definitely a fee, but anyways, we'll look into all of that stuff and how to do it and,
and if any of you use any of those services, please let us know, because we're not the experts on any of those.
We are
So-
not the
so
experts.
we rely upon everybody in the room and on Zoom to chip in and help us.
right,
So-
because Bob and I have never ordered the foods personally.
I know for Instacart, because we done DoorDash and Instacart. For Instacart, they like to send you $40 coupons for each purchase. So just keep an eye on that once you sign up. But that $40 usually covers all the extra fees they like to add on, so it just kind
Just means,
of
yeah.
subtracts itself.
Okay.
But either way, you could order stuff from Costco. It's what we've done, but we do, if you do apply your Costco membership, you do get those points. Without it, you don't get those points. So just kind of just to fill in that part. I do notice that for some reason with my experience with Instacart, you can only order small items. For whatever reason, large items is not that easy. And I mean, like if they have 3 options of eggs, like if you want the 18 pack, the 30 pack, or the 60 pack, they only let you order the 18 and 30 versus not ordering the 60 pack. I've been able to get away with that with DoorDash, so I don't really know if that's for every store or, you know, there's something going on there, but that's just my experience. I don't know what else to mention. Yeah,
It's
I know
gonna
there's
be our
Walmart
talk for
Plus.
next month.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so.
Yeah, okay, different, you have lots. Do
But
we have transportation, otherwise I can turn off the recording?
I have a question, actually, back to compare, looking at Lyft and Uber. Bob, do you know if Lyft has the security features that Uber has that I have turned on? So, for example, as was being shared, my husband can watch me. He can see on his phone where I am on my ride. And there's some other safety features built in that I've activated too. Do you know if Lyft has those things offhand, please?
They do have the one where you can share your ride info with another person.
Okay,
I don't know what other safety features they offer.
that's
They-
great.
They have
Uh-huh.
the PIN.
Oh, that's
or-
right.
Yeah, you have to request a PIN, so that's both ends have that.
Yes. Okay, good. That good. I've got that on Uber. And then what was the other question? Can't remember. But anyway, thanks again. It was great info. Appreciate it.
I was gonna ask on that Waymo, do you know approximately what the cost was if you were a paying customer for the Waymo
It's
over there?
it's supposed to be competitive,
Oh,
so
okay.
from what I saw, it was less, not by a lot,
Oh,
but it's almost like if you had Uber One.
okay.
So it's supposed to be a little bit less. But I think the biggest takeaway there that we were just kind of thinking is the fact that, you know, with service animals, like that's just the biggest compliment there. The only thing that there was a takeaway they mentioned, like if we're comparing, is you don't know if the previous person left the vehicle clean. So you would have to report that vehicle being messy, and then they'll send another vehicle to you.
That's interesting.
When it's a busy time, like traffic is, there's no parking spaces for the vehicle to pull up into. The only problem was that the vehicle would only give you 2 minutes. That was the biggest problem with us, is that because San Francisco is the way it is, and there's really no parking spaces, 2 minutes may not be enough for a vehicle to, pull over and wait for you on the middle of the street. Now, when I say in the middle of the street, you have to have good cane skills. I do want to add that. Good cane skills so that you can get off the curb, onto the street, into the vehicle, and on your way. So just
Yeah.
from my experience.
Yeah, the downside, I guess, of not having a driver.
Yeah,
there,
because
a person.
I don't know, I never tried Uber on San Francisco. I will mention that I don't know what it's like if the driver waits in the middle of the street too, but Waymo waits in the middle of the street, so.
Yeah, where we were, that there wasn't space to pull
Yeah,
aside.
exactly.
It could be a different experience using it in Santa Cruz, because it's
More spread out,
it's
so.
more spread out. Yeah, we were using it in a busy sort of central downtown area, so.
I do like when my favorite feature out of almost all of them. So just kind of like we were explaining with all these navigational tools, if the vehicle does park around the corner because everything's just so crowded up. And you need to get to the building, so let's just say it doesn't park in front of the building. It will tell you from the moment you get off the vehicle, it'll say, okay, now go right. So you turn right as soon as you get off the vehicle, okay, now go left. So it's giving you verbal commands of which you need to go from there. You don't need to switch apps. It's still the same Waymo app. So that was a plus side on their end. No needing to switch apps.
What about color cars? I got the same thing.
Color car? That's different. That's
Oh, okay, 'cause
Yeah.
that'd be great if they had that. I mean, that'd help me out.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, yeah,
Yeah.
that too is not available in that end.
Well, if we get driverless pickup cars, then pretty soon you guys will all be able to drive ourselves.
I know, I need to request Captain to let me drive a vehicle at least once.
What's funny though is you're not, no one's allowed to sit in the front driver's seat.
Oh, in
Well,
Waymo?
I
Yeah,
know,
no,
it would be
it's-
nice to pretend, right?
It's only 4 passengers, but
Yeah.
on the driver's seat, no one's allowed to sit there.
Yeah.
That's correct. It's locked.
Huh. Wonder
But
why
yeah,
that is.
it's complete independence, right? It's
Yeah.
it's exciting.
Exciting
different
times for
possibilities, yeah.
all of us.
Yeah, it is exciting times.
I didn't know that it had that navigation directly in the Waymo app when you get out. That's
Yeah,
cool.
because that's one of the
Well,
problems.
that's
I
pretty
mean,
cool.
back then it was a bigger problem, but I know when we were using Uber and Lyft back in 2016 and 2018, we're like, hey, now where is it? We're in the middle of the parking lot. Driver didn't know. Some drivers were nice enough.
That's
to
what
walk
happened to
me,
me,
but-
you know? That's what happened to me a couple times.
Yeah.
And then one was, she was on the wrong street, and when she did show up, I got blamed for that. I had to pay for it anyway.
Has anybody got any questions on Zoom? Before we close out? Hannah, Donna, Holly?
It looks like Hannah's left, but we have Donna and Holly here.
No questions from me. I've learned so much. I'm just really excited to try some of these things.
I echo that, Donna. Wasn't this very informative? Gosh, there's so much. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Well, thanks everyone. I'm going to turn off the recording.